So, foundation number 5, which is under the purposes of God, is about raising obedient children who live loved. Give us your thoughts on that.
Well, interesting. Recently, my daughter is a social worker. She was talking. We were talking about one particular section of society, and she says, "I've never met one of those types of people who doesn't have daddy issues." And so we talked even further, and she stopped and she said, "Actually, I've never met a human being who doesn't have daddy issues."
Yeah.
And we thought about that for a while, and we thought, well, of course that's true. Actually, the Father is the centre of the universe, because actually he's even the head of the Godhead, isn't he? Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Therefore, in some way or other, any breakdown it's right at root is going to come back to how we relate to the Father, which is why Jesus was so keen to be able to introduce us to the Father, so we see him and we'd understand his fathering. The difficulty is, in our society, so many people have ended up having either abusive fathers or... I just want to say to this, obviously my father was killed when I was 17, and I had a tremendous dad. But what I would say is this: even my fantastic dad is not where I'm supposed to get my pattern of fathering from. It's a reflection. And so if you had a terrible dad or you had a great dad, the reality is one is a reflection of the Father, the other isn't. But in truth, you're meant to get your picture of the Father from Jesus. He says, "If you've seen me, you've seen the Father." And so, you know, in a sense, I refer you to the previous one. As we fix our eyes on Jesus, we'll not only fall in love with our bridegroom, but we start to get a better picture of what the Father is like and his love. Everything comes down to how we're able to access Abba Father.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. And the second thing, that's the living love bit, if you like, living out of his love for us, his acceptance of us. And the second thing is our obedience to him. I know in the Great Commission we talk about our mission is to make disciples of all nations, but it starts off that they're saying, you know, baptize them in the Father, the Son and the Holy Spirit. I think one of the mistakes we make is thinking that's just dipping people in water. I truly believe that the absolute root of all discipleship, and therefore teaching people to be obedient children, is that they are immersed in the person of Father, Son and Holy Spirit. They are baptised in the person of the Father. So therefore this is not a nodding acquaintance. You know, this is not occasional visitation rites. This is to be absolutely immersed in the fact of who the Father is and his love for you. And obviously therefore to be immersed in Jesus and his grace and the Holy Spirit and his fellowship. But this particular thing, to be immersed in the Father's love, is the root of actually living love and living obedience.